I found these Channellocks at a yard sale. I paid $1 for them. This is the more modern version. It has the riveted pivot rather than a nut and bolt that you can take apart. The jaws look like they're in great shape. The handle's intact too. Let's talk about options for removing the rust. Now you could go after the rust with a wire wheel, but because of this rivet, you can't fully disassemble these pliers, and you'd never be able to get into every nook and cranny. Regular viewers know I'm a big fan of evaporust. It would be ideal for this project, but it costs around $30 a gallon. Since this is a back to basics episode, I'm going to use 5% white vinegar. You can get white vinegar at any grocery or big box store, and it's only about $4 a gallon. Okay, I've got some warm soapy water. Mrs. Magdad likes Palmolive. I've got a cheap wire brush, and I'm just going to give this a quick scrub, just in case there's some oil on this that'll stop the vinegar from doing its job. Going to knock off some of the rust too, just kind of by accident. Here it is after its bath. Already looks a little better, huh? I'm going to add enough vinegar to fully submerge the pliers. Alright, I'll come back in about 8 hours and check on the progress. Alright, it's been about 8 hours. Let's see how it's doing. I'm using that same cheap little wire brush. Alright, I'll let it soak overnight. I think I said overnight, but it's actually been 24 hours. It's actually looking really good. I think it's ready to get rinsed off. This is just plain tap water. I've seen people recommend like a baking soda and water to neutralize the acid that's in the vinegar, but we're just going to do it the simplest way. We're just going to rinse it really well in plain water. The disadvantage to using vinegar to remove rust is when you get done rinsing the part and you're drying it off, it wants to flash rust almost immediately. So my plan is to dry this off very quickly and then hose it down with WD-40 to stop that flash rust from happening. I figure since there's WD-40 all over this thing, it's a good time to clean these handles. I'm just using an old toothbrush. Looks like there's some paint or caulk. I have this popsicle stick sharpened. See how that does? Yeah, it looks like it's working. I've got a little piece of that super fine abrasive pad. See how that does. Yeah, I think this little abrasive pad is working better than the toothbrush. Handles are starting to look pretty good. I've got all the excess WD-40 wiped off. Now I'm going to start cleaning up the metal. I'm going to begin with these teeth. The only power tool I use in these Back to Basics episodes is the very affordable Wen 2307 rotary tool. I'm going to use this 80 grit bristle wheel. These bristle wheels are directional. You see how the bristles are curved that way? Like that way? It's important when you install these to make sure the curve is going the opposite direction of the rotation of the machine. So this rotary tool is going to be rotating that way, and you want the curves to curve the opposite way. If you find you're tearing these wheels up really quick, it's probably because you have them on the wrong way. I'm also going to use that bristle wheel on these Channellock channels. I have the speed set at around 3. I'm going to use a coarse scrubby wheel to brighten up the rest of the metal. I still have the speed on right around 3. Before I switch to the medium scrubby wheel, I want to see if I can clean up the marking. I've got my pen brush with the heat shrink tubing on. See if I can get into those letters. I ended up going back and forth between the 220 grit bristle wheel and a medium red scrubby wheel to blend around the rivet and where it meets the handle. As a final step, I'm going to go over the metal with this superfine abrasive pad. I'm going to spray these pliers down with WD-40. If you're going to store tools like these in a toolbox or have them hanging in your garage or in your basement, if you spray them down with WD-40 and then wipe off the excess every time you use them, they'll never get as rusty as these did. Nice thing about WD-40, it doesn't seem to hurt any kind of plastic. At least that I've come across. Okay, let me take you back to what these Channellock 420 tongue and groove pliers looked like when I brought them home from the yard sale. And here they are, rust-free and cleaned up. The riveted pivot pin limited how far I could go, but I'm okay with some pitting. The Channellock tongue and groove design is a classic. These pliers are ready for everyday use. Yard sales can be a great resource for quality USA-made tools at dollar store prices. With some vinegar and some elbow grease, you can put together a set of quality hand tools on a tight budget. I hope you enjoyed this Back to Basics episode. I included Amazon links in the description for the products I used on this project. Thanks for watching. Make sure you check out my other Back to Basics episodes.